Good day, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in your part of the world. This is King B with another video. We're going to get into a little science in this video. This article by Twisted Sifter. All right, and you see the title: Scientists find 140 trillion times the water in all our oceans swirling around a gigantic black hole that's 1 billion times bigger than the sun. So I've already read this article. I found it interesting, so I thought I'd share. So scientists have made an incredible discovery. They found a ginormous amount of water in a black hole 12 billion light years away. An ocean in the heart of a black hole. How much water are we talking about? Well, it's so much that if you took all the water from Earth's ocean and multiplied it by 140 trillion, you'd get close. But wait, what's a black hole? Picture it like a cosmic vacuum cleaner, sucking in everything nearby, even light. This black hole, called a quasar, is not just any black hole. It's like a supermassive one munching on gas and dust and spewing out tons of energy. According to NASA scientist Matt Bradford, who was involved in the discovery, the water feeds the quasar. The environment around this quasar is very unique in that it's producing this huge mass of water, Bradford wrote in a statement. It's another demonstration that water is pervasive throughout the universe, even at the very earliest times. Now, this is an X-ray. It's a Source Chandar X-ray Observatory. So I'm guessing this is the black hole, but what does that look like to you? See, to me, this looked like the inside of a toroidal field. See that? Toroidal field, you got it's going to go around this way and around that way. But if you know what a toroidal field look like, this is the inside of a toroidal field. All right? One side, one end is positive energy, next end is negative energy, and it's just spilling out. The cup is runneth over. That's a clue right there. But this look like the inside of a toroidal field. Now, why is this discovery a big deal? Well, according to NASA, astronomers had expected to find water vapor present in the distant universe. However, it has not been detected at this range before. It's like finding a drop of water in the middle of a desert, but on a gigantic scale. And this water isn't just sitting there. It's swirling around the black hole, creating a sort of cosmic steam bath. And there's 140 trillion times the amount of water in all of the world's oceans. We put that into context, but it's impossible to do. That's how much water is there. So it's difficult for me to even calculate how much water is sitting and swirling around in this black hole. But how did they find it? Scientists used fancy telescopes and instruments like the Z-Spec and the Plateau de Buret interferometer to peek into space. They studied a quasar called 8PM 08279 plus 5255, which sounds like a mouthful, but it's your basic giant black hole. 20 billion times bigger than the sun, with as much energy as 1,000 trillion suns. That's a lot of energy. Quasars have a lot of energy. The discovery, though, isn't just about the water. It's about getting closer to understanding how the universe works and finding a missing puzzle piece that helps us understand the big picture a little bit better. So that's the article, but I just found that article interesting. I do like science and reading up on science. And I thought I'd share that. That's a lot of water, folks. And by the way, let's not forget all the water they said is sitting, they discovered inside of the earth. More water than the oceans inside of the earth, right? That's interesting as well. All right, that's the end of that article. And that's probably going to be just about it. But let's look at it just goes, it just goes to show for me, it just goes to show you when it comes to the universe as well as this realm or this plane of existence some people call a planet, which you have that argument of whether or not the world is flat or it's round or it's a sphere or whatever have you. That's just a conversation for another day. My personal, the way I see it is, this plane is going to be whatever you imagine it to be. That's how I look at it. That's just how I feel. It's going to be whatever you imagine it to be. Right? Take this eclipse that just happened. Right? You got a lot of people out there that are confused now because they was thinking one way. They've done all the research and they was quite certain of what they was talking about, but now there's some confusion now. This eclipse happened and people don't know what to think about it. Clearly, it wasn't the moon that eclipsed the sun. Clearly, that wasn't the moon. Right? That was not the moon that eclipsed the sun. It wasn't. So what was it? Some say it was the black sun. Right? What did you see? For those of you watching this video, what was it? If you saw the eclipse or if you watched it on video, what was it to you? Did you track the moon leading up to the eclipse? Because I watched the moon leading up to the eclipse, and I watched the moon rise as the days got closer to the Monday that just passed, the 8th. The moon would rise in the southeast, 3:30, then 4 o'clock, then later. The last I saw the moon was a Thursday. The moon rose further east, and I watched at 5 a.m. and I watched the moon disappear. I believe the moon was in wane, I believe, and the light that the moon was given on was like a dark orange. And I watched this shadow just cover up the moon. I watched that. I didn't record it, but this is what I witnessed. I looked at with my own eyes. And it was weird. I talked about this in a previous video, but it was weird because I watched the shadow come over the moon. It only cut off. It's like a horizontal shadow came over the moon, right almost to the top, but just left enough at the top of the moon to still you could see the light of the moon, and of course on the bottom you still saw the light of the moon. And then it went away, the shadow, and then all of a sudden the shadow came back again and it just covered the moon completely. And I just stood there in amazement watching this. And that's the last I saw the moon. I think that was it a Thursday or Friday? I believe it was a Thursday. I didn't see the moon again. I finally saw the moon yesterday evening as the sun made its descent, or west, and I saw the moon finally, right? Like it's smiling right at the very bottom. You just giving off a little light at the bottom, like it's smiling. But what phase of the moon is that? If you look up phases of the moon, you're not going to see that. I mean, I'm quite sure. I mean, you can look it up. But yeah, this eclipse was something to behold. A lot of people are confused about it. So when it comes to whether the Earth is round, the Earth is a sphere, the Earth is flat, a flat plane, some people scratching their head, got to scratch their head and ask themselves some questions about that now, right? I kind of see it like this as I was watching and looking at this eclipse. And I'm out west, so we didn't get the full eclipse. The shadow came in at about the 3 o'clock position, and then went from 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock to 5 to 6, all the way to the 9 o'clock position, right around the out, just enough inside. And then it finally moved on out. And then as I'm standing there looking at it, and I didn't use no special glasses or anything to see. I mean, that's just I do a lot of sun gazing, so it don't bother me looking up at the sun. But as I was looking and watching this, I was kind of thinking about it, like, wow, this is what I'm seeing from my point of view, where I'm standing. But at the same time, someone else in another part of the world is seeing something completely different. They're seeing the sun, more coverage of the sun than what I'm seeing. And yet someone else at the same time in another part of the world is seeing total eclipse of the sun. So I was thinking about it, how can that be? And there are some folks who's asking that same question. How can that be? How can, if we have one sun, how is it possible that people around the world are seeing something completely different? Because for some people, the eclipse was over, ending, whereas for some it was beginning. How can that be if we just have one sun? So I was thinking about this. So for me, I thought to myself, I said, well, it can only be really, I thought of two explanations. Either one, depending on the time zone, depending on where you are on this plane, on this realm, you have a completely different sun than the next person, meaning there's going to be multiple suns, atmospheric suns. So that's why we're going to see, something completely different. I thought of that. Just a theory. The second explanation I thought of, well, okay, if it is one sun, one way that I can explain it is this plane, this realm, this plane of existence is like a wave. It's a wave. It's not flat. It goes up and down, and depending on where you are on this realm, depending on if you're down in the wave or you're up on top of a wave, and the angle, depending on the angle where you are, you're going to see something completely different than the next person, because we're not all at the same spot. If anybody watching this, if you understand what I'm talking about, see. So I mean, and of course, when you talk about flat Earth, Because water always is gonna level out. Well, you think of this realm. You know how big this realm is. So of course there's going to be spots where water going to be level, but at the same time, this realm is like a wave. It's a wave. And depending on where you are, if you're down in the wave or you're up high on a higher altitude on a wave, that's going to affect the angle and affect what you're seeing when you look at the sun and you're looking at the eclipse. And so this kind of came to me as I was looking up at the eclipse, and I just thought I'd share it. Because there are some people who are confused now because they was thinking one way. See? Because you listen to some people talk, and it's like there's no gray area. It's either black or white, as the saying goes. There's no gray area. But there is a gray area. It's not one or the other. See what I'm talking about? The truth, see, look, if you take a glass and you drop a glass and that glass breaks and shatters, yes, where you're standing, there's going to be big pieces of big shards of glass. Because you're going to want to pick that glass up, right? You can pick all that glass up, but the next day or later on, you go into the next room, you're going to find pieces of little shards of glass. See, it's just like that. I see the truth like that. The truth is spread out. It's like a giant jigsaw puzzle. You're trying to gather up all the shards of glass and just like a jigsaw puzzle, put the pieces of shards of glass together to form a whole glass again. I think where people are getting tripped up at is they do their research and they study in just one particular area of the puzzle. They solve a section of the puzzle and think they have the whole puzzle figured out. No, you do not have it all figured out. You just solved one section of this giant jigsaw puzzle. You still have the whole board left to solve. So you got one individual who solved one section of the puzzle and another individual who solved another section of the puzzle, and now there's an argument going on who's right and who's wrong. But they don't understand, they don't grasp that they're both right, and at the same time, they're both still wrong. Because there's still pieces of this board of the puzzle that's yet to be solved. You see? Things would go a lot better in this life if people learned to do one thing. Instead of debating, instead of sticking the chest out, trying to prove who's more knowledgeable or who's more intelligent, or where I got the answers and I'm smarter and those other guys are just dumb. Instead of doing that, how about coming together, sharing the information? Well, you know what? What you got? What did you solve? Okay, well, here's what I got. Share the information. Have real conversation instead of debating, and then work together to figure this thing called life out. Because the only thing most are doing is just causing confusion at this point. Having what is, as the saying goes, a pissing contest. Who's smarter? Who sounds more intelligent? Meanwhile, they cause confusion, and then you have the followers of certain people who just believe whatever comes out of their mouth. Because they said a couple of things that sounded good, that resonated with them. So now everything they say is right? No. You see? So again, if people got together and shared information and had real conversations and worked together instead of having a pissing contest, we'll be much further along. But too many just refuse to do that. They love, you see, they in love with their own ego. And they also love the attention they get. The praise that's heaped on them by their followers. Their ego gets involved, and that's where they're tripping. That's how they're tripping. That's what's tripping them up. So they don't want to work together with the next person and come together as a group and share information and work to solve the rest of the puzzle. They don't want to do that. They want to debate. They want a pissing contest. Or the rest of them people don't know what they're talking about. I got the answers. No, you don't. You have some of the answers. You know, we live on a realm. Just think about this. It's not too hard to figure out. We live on a realm where they haven't even discovered what's really in the oceans yet. They only solve a small percentage of the oceans. They only discovered, I should say, a small percentage of the ocean. So how do you have it all figured out? In reality, no one really, a human, have it all figured out. The only ones who have it figured out and who have the answers is the beings that have been here for thousands, if not millions of years, and is still here, by the way, just in different bodies. And even some of them don't have all the answers. If we came together and formed like Voltron, right? If we came together as a group, as a collective, and shared the information instead of having a pissing contest and foolish debates, and then after the debate, want to talk about who won and I really won, and no, they thought they said I lost, but I won, and the followers cheering it on like it's a rap battle, URL or whatever it's called, a rap league, battle leagues, whatever. Instead of doing that, if we came together as a collective and worked together and shared the information and said, okay, now let's figure the rest of this out, we'd get much farther along. See the so-called, some of the so-called leaders ain't leading right. And as a result, it's causing confusion. But I'm King B. This is my thoughts. I'm not talking about anyone in particular. But I've been clicking around and watching videos, and some people I've been watching and I've been listening and I've been shaking my head. They don't get that they're right and at the same time they're wrong. Because you can't be both right and wrong at the same time, especially when it comes to this subject, what I'm talking about. It's going to take a collective to get together and figure this out and solve this puzzle in its entirety. Right? It's not going to take an ego to do it. Everybody got to put their egos aside and humble themselves. I don't have all the answers, but I have some of the answers. I don't have all the truth, but I know some of this truth. So let me get involved with this one and that one and this one, and we come together, share our truth, and then see if we can solve this entire puzzle together as a collective, as a unit, one unit. Then we'll get somewhere. Until then, it's going to be continue to be a pissing contest. Egos, a bunch of egos. bragging about what fancy words they can use and what they know and who they're right and the rest is wrong. And well, let's have a debate and buy your tickets for the debate, right? Because the people love a show, you know, right? Just like in Rome, gladiators pounding each other silly. And the people, yeah! The people love to be entertained. See, that's the problem too. Too many want to be entertained. They don't really want to find out the truth and solve nothing. They just want to be entertained. They like to be entertained. My name is King B. I go by the name of King B. That's who I be. Be safe out there. Love yourself. Keep your loved ones close. Have real conversations with each other. Protect the babies. Protect the children at all costs. Please. The children are under attack as I'm speaking to you. Keep each other safe. Watch each other's back. Till the next video. Peace.